It's Connections Radio, Glenn Thompson and Paul Harvey with a very special guest, connecting once again to Ireland, the Emerald Isle. Paul, who we got?
We have Mr. John McCulloch, Glenn. We've interviewed John.
He's the evil bald genius,
He's the evil bald genius. John, welcome. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
That's great. Well, thank you for that. So, John, just to put the backdrop behind you, you're not a typical entrepreneur. You are known as the evil bald genius, and you're all the strategies that John teaches about, Glenn, on how to grow your business. He's used himself to create his own highly successful business. So John doesn't just talk the talk, he walks it as well. And he's author of Grow Your Business Fast, which I think John and other people have obviously given you testimonials by saying that this is a masterclass of how to grow your business. I agree with that. So there we are. That's enough smoke blown, I think.
Well, the interesting thing about that book is when anyone buys it, I always give the guarantee. And if they don't like it, they can just let me know any time. So it's a lifetime unconditional guarantee. They can let me know any time, and I'll give them the money back, and they don't even have to send it back to me. And it was published in 2013. I've sold thousands of them, and I've never had a single person ever ask for a refund for that reason. I've had to refund people because it's either not been delivered or it's been late. That's different. But no one has ever said, hey, this is a bunch of crap, I want my money back.
So, John, today, can we talk about how to become an authority and to be the go-to guy in your sector?
Yeah, lovely. It's one of my favourite topics, that is.
Okay.
Apart from premium pricing, yes.
Apart from premium pricing, which we did, which was fascinating. Should we start by saying that you don't need permission from anyone to be an authority?
Absolutely. I mean, what you'll find is, and I actually had this happen to me when I was a young cop. Well, I'd say young, I was 37 or something, wet behind the ears, and I started working as a copywriter in my local area. Because I was quite vocal about what I could do and my opinion of not other people's work, because that's unprofessional, but my opinion of the industry as a whole, the state of it. I actually had a bloke phone me up saying, I've been doing this for 25 years. How dare you charge what you're charging and say what you're saying? But I was baffled that he would actually take the time out of his business to phone me up and whinge at me. Well, what do you think I'm going to do? Change my attitude? Drop my prices? The incumbents in the industry will assume authority status based on their length of service, and they won't accept anyone else into their fold without their approval. And the thing is, you don't need their approval. If you toe the line and think, well, okay, I need to be acknowledged by them before I can take the mantle of greatness, you'll be waiting a very long time. So there's no reason for anyone in any industry to not just forget all that and leapfrog yourself to the top by self-appointment. And I realise there are some areas like law, probably accountancy, any protected or registered profession, especially all the healthcare, you are not allowed to say, I am the best at this and these other people are rubbish and here's why. I realise you're not allowed to say that. That's fine. But you can still do it tacitly. You can even say, I'm not allowed to say I'm the best doctor. But, a little bit like, I can't believe it's not butter. We're not allowed to say it's butter. You can assume the mantle of greatness and no one can gainsay you. Oh, you'll get people complain about it. But so what? Who cares what they think? They're not paying you any money.
It's about perception as well, isn't it? In terms of how you frame your content. I mean, okay, let's talk about the relevance of the business, of small businesses that are listening to this now. And they're thinking about, I want to generate some PR. I want to get some content out to my local journalist so he'll pick up my story and publish about me so I can be perceived to be the expert in my business. But obviously there are some clear guidance rules that you've put in your book, actually, hints and tips on how to make it stick with the journalist.
Yeah, well, because journalists are doing a job, okay? They need to fill their media, it doesn't matter whether it's printed, visual or audio. They need to fill their media with stuff interesting to their audience. So what they will not do is just promote your business like an advert, not unless you're paying them to run an advert. And that's understandable. Why should they? So what you need to do is quid pro quo. You need to give them something and effectively pass the message on. Look, I've got a story that will really interest your readers. It's going to be good for them. And journalists are not stupid. They know the payback is they will give you a plug. That's how it works.
They want to look good as well.
Of course they do. And the thing is, you're actually doing them a favour because, a newspaper cannot go out with empty space in it. They can't just send out half an empty page. They have to fill it with something. The same with radio stations. I think a lot of them, in the terms of their licenses, they have to devote certain amounts of time to stuff that's not music and not advertising. They have to deliver, I believe.
BBC local radio is a typical example of that, isn't it?
Yeah, and I would imagine, I've never worked in media like that, but I would imagine trying to fill a programming schedule is even more frustrating and painful than trying to fill a newspaper, because at least you can cut pages out of a newspaper. You cannot really cut seconds and minutes out of a day. They're there. You've got to fill them with something. So you're doing them a favour, and they understand that. But what they won't do is be taken for a ride. You've got to give them something that's worth that their audience wants to listen to. And another trick is that, it's not a trick, but another key is that the more you give them a ready-made story they can almost cut and paste or just slot in without much work, the more they'll love you. Your press release can give them almost verbatim the whole story, rather than just saying, hi, I'm Fred, I'm a plumber, I do taps. I'm really proud to say I'm opening a new establishment. Who cares? No one cares. But that's the level of and quality of your average press release.
No, that's right. I mean, there's got to be a clear benefit to the journalist and to the end reader as well. And of
Absolutely.
course, you're selling, aren't you? You're selling from the word go in how you pitch that press release. You've got to put a call to action in there as well if you can get away with it.
Absolutely. You are making a sale, and the sale is selling the story to the journalist.
Yeah.
So you should treat it in all respects like a sales letter or a sales exercise. Your press release is essentially a mini sales letter.
Quite so. And as you put, again, in your book, you go through that AIDA process of attention, interest, desire, and action within the structure of that.
The thing is, people are perhaps going to either get the book or just rush off and write press releases. And that's great. The one thing they do need to understand is it's free. It costs you nothing but time and a bit of paper and maybe a fax or something. But the take-up rate, the conversion rate, if you like, can be fairly low. You might have to send out 100 press releases before you get one bite. But what you tend to find is the publicity you get on the back of that, and also, if you do a good job of it, the hooks you get into the journalist as the go-to guy or girl to speak to on matters of this, on topics of this matter. The payback then far outweighs the inconvenience and frustration of sending 99 that got nowhere.
Would you say that even in the world today of how social media seems to be the dominating platform, this skill base in how to tap into journalists and grab their attention and going into hard print is still very valuable for business growth?
Oh, absolutely. I would say for most local businesses particularly, and I guess that's the audience we're talking to now for the most part.
Yeah.
Most local businesses, I would say social media is largely irrelevant. I mean, the advertising is useful, but having a page on Facebook with your business page and having likes and engagement is largely irrelevant, because a little bit like profit is vanity and profit is sanity and turnover is vanity. Likes and engagement are vanity. What really matters is how many sales you're making. Well, I'll tell you from experience, on Facebook pages, likes and engagement almost never translate to sales. The first thing you should be doing on your Facebook page is getting people off your Facebook page and into your own little universe where you control the dialogue. With one caveat, unless you're doing something really stupid and give people a really bad experience, in which case it will go viral and your business is toast. Other than that one specific case, I think your social media is largely irrelevant. It's just maybe a nice to have plug-in. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There are better ways to spend your time and money.
John, you mentioned about your average plumber up the road in the local town using Facebook. You see the Facebook logo on their vans. They obviously still think there's a huge importance attached to pushing themselves out on social media. I mean, how do you educate these people to say that social media isn't necessarily the way forward? It seems to be inbuilt in most people now that the social media it will push my business for me. How do you educate them otherwise?
Well, unfortunately, it's a little bit like leading horses to water or herding cats. You can't make anyone do or get anyone to do anything they're not interested in doing. For instance, what I do in my business is I lay the message out there, and if they're interested in learning more about it, they will come to me. And if they're not, there's not a lot I can do about it. I'm not really in the persuasion business in the sense that, and I know this from long and bitter experience, trying to change someone's mind and persuade them to buy into my ideas and then buy my stuff is a real waste of my time, and it's just frustrating. People almost never change their minds based on logical argument, because most people are actually in the position they're in, whether it's about social media or what diet they should be on, or indeed what religion they should be in. They are making those decisions for emotional reasons, and you cannot argue anyone out of an emotional position with a logical argument. Anyone who's had toddlers will know this. And let's face it, adults are just grown-up children. I put the information out there promising a certain outcome if they listen to me, and they will come into my world and I will educate them. Some are into it and some are not, and the ones who are not, I don't really care about. And yeah, to be fair, some people, and this happened recently, a guy has been on my email list, receiving my emails every day since 2013, and read my book, never bought anything else from me until last November when he paid £1,000 to come and see me in Cork. People do listen, they do educate themselves. If you start worrying about, well, why aren't you listening to me? Why won't you do as I say? You need to listen to it. This is the best thing for you. You're wasting your time.
Now, John, here's a question for you. Can anybody grow their business fast? I've just started off on this entrepreneurial ladder. Can I grow my business fast? Can anybody do it? Is it mindset?
Well, mindset's important. Yeah, I mean, if you're of a mindset where you think everyone else's opinion counts, and you must try to be all things to all people and not offend or upset anyone, no, you're not going to get very far, because you'll end up being nothing to anyone in particular. Okay, all of the things being equal. So what I mean by that is, if your business is a viable business, you've got a viable product, your product or service actually solves a problem people have, and there are people out there who have that problem and want it solved, bearing in mind, if you can do all that, then yes, any business can grow quickly. And I don't just mean growing in the sense of having loads of customers or even loads of sales. If it's possible, you should be creating a high-value product or service that gives your customers a high-value outcome. And any business can then grow their profits very quickly, yeah. And they can leap to the top of their pile very, very quickly with traditional media, social media if it's going to work for them, but it's bottom of my list. But also, the most authoritative thing that you can do is write a book on your topic. That becomes your business card. And, to print a book, even one that's the size of mine, which is a little bit bigger than it should be, but even a book like mine costs me, I believe, £3.85 to print. Well, I've seen business cards that cost more than that to print because they've got all this fancy gold lettering on. Give someone a book, and you are giving them the mother of all business cards. It stays with them. If they don't read it, somebody else will. It might be on their desk and stuff. Give them two, one for you and one for a friend. You get as much space as you want to tell your entire message. It's a long copy sales letter. You sell yourself in the book, and it changes the whole game of your marketing, because instead of you going out there to market your business, what you now do is you market the book. The book markets your business.
And let's be fair, we can all write books now and stick them up on Amazon, can't we? It's not that complex a process.
Absolutely. I self-published. It used to be called vanity publishing, and it used to be expensive, but now mine's pay on demand. I pay in bulk because it's cheaper that way, and the books will go anyway, but I pay my printer for, say, 1,000 books in advance, and when I want one, I'll just tell him, or I'll get 100 delivered to my cousin who does all my distribution, and I say to Rob, I just sold a book, send it out, and that's it. And then when that 1,000 that I've paid for is gone, I'll pay for another 1,000. But you can do it one at a time if you really want to, or print one if you want to, or 10, or whatever. So it's not expensive, but it's the most powerful thing you can do. And even writing the book is easier than you would think. Most people, you say, I can't write a book. Well, maybe not. I mean, sitting there contemplating the idea of writing 300 pages in one go, start to finish, I can imagine that would be quite scary. It's not scary to me because I'm a writer, it's what I do. But if I said to you, can you write 500 words in a day? Oh, you'd probably say, I can do that. Well, 500 words in a day in a year, you've got 180,000 words.
Yeah, okay. Take it in bite-sized chunks.
Well, that's 3 books.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be big. I mean, 125 pages plus is about optimum. So none of this is difficult.
No.
But the thing is, you talk about growing businesses and small businesses being successful. The greater part of every business's success, especially small businesses, where you are the main stakeholder and the decision maker, success in that kind of business is doing what other people won't do and not what they can't do.
Apart from a book, obviously people can write articles as well.
Yeah.
Create blogs and free reports. That doesn't have to be a book every time.
Blogging is I'll argue whether it's worth doing or not. If you are writing a daily email, like I'd suggest everybody does to your list, you may as well put it up on your website as a blog. I don't myself, but the material's already there. What I've done before, when I first moved over to Ireland, is I contacted my local paper, the West Cork People, and everyone's got local newspapers, and I just offered them, I just said who I was and what my expertise was, and offered them a free article every month, and that's what they did. And in the end, I was getting about 1,300 words of a full-page ad, basically, in the local paper, which led to a lot of work, and one in particular was a €30,000 contract with a website design firm. Brilliant. And that maybe took me an hour, well, about an hour. It would probably take most people twice that, but even if it takes you 2 hours a month to write, well, that then is material you can put on your blog. You can send it out as direct mail. You can use it for anything you want. You own the copyright on it. And the papers love you because, like I said, they are trying out for quality content their readers are interested in.
Yeah, and of course you're framing it as, here's a problem and here's my solution to that problem. And also, what comes across, actually, again, looking at this section in your book, is how you reach a point where actually you can create a little bit of scarcity as well now. You know, you can walk away from certain aspects of business that you don't think is right to take on as well. We are talking about how to become an authority in your sector and be that go-to guy in your sector. So just quickly demonstrate how walking away from something can still help your profile.
The thing is, I'll say the first thing, people should start walking away from bad business now, even if you think you can't afford it. Because you will find bad business is either not profitable in monetary terms, or even if it's profitable in monetary terms, I use the word psychic cost, but the psychic or psychological cost is far too high. Because bad clients, bad customers, they drain the energy out of you. They're always trying to squeeze you on price. They're never happy with what you've delivered. And they are slow to pay, if they pay at all. And I went to a conference in America, I'm going back at least 12, 13 years now, because I was still living in the UK. And the first thing I did was fire 2 of my 3 clients, because I realised they were not worth it. And my wife said to me at the time, she was in the office, she said, "We can't afford to do that." And I said, "We can't afford not to do it." That's a little bit of a pep talk, I guess. But the reasoning behind it is this. The reason why you do it is, well, there are lots. One of them is, one, you should only take on good business. And if anyone comes along, you should not take them on just because it's money in the bank. If you start doing that, not only is it a mistake because of just the reasons I just given, but also it means your perception of your business is faulty, because you are looking at business, your sales and your acquisition of clients and customers, you're looking at it as an event. It's almost like the guy or the girl who settles for the wrong partner because I might never get another chance.
Yes,
This might be my only chance at romance, at love. Yeah. Well, it's like customers and clients, but they're actually like buses. There's always another one coming along. There's always another one coming along. Even if you've got no money in the bank and there are suppliers asking for their money, unless that's been going on for a long time, the chances are your business is not going to implode today. Now, looking at the other side of things, how the effect it has on your clients, if you are known for being discerning and choosy about who you take on in your business,
yes,
that actually makes you more attractive, because people want what they can't have.
It's that emotional perception angle again. John, I think what we'll do actually is say thank you very much indeed for your time.
Fascinating.
Today, another masterclass on how to grow your business from John McCulloch. So, John, thanks very much. Can we come back to you again for a follow-up?
Absolutely. As often as you like.
We look forward to that, John.
Just remind us again, John, of the book. It's called...
The book is Grow Your Business Fast. The quick, dirty and uncensored secrets to extraordinary small business success despite recession, bad government and tight-assed banks. It's also on Amazon, or they can go to growyourbusinessfast.com, which is the website of the book, and get it there.
Brilliant. We look forward to talking to you again in the very near future, John. Thanks very much for your time.
My pleasure.